Hey everybody, welcome to Hills and Gills. If you're new to the channel, my name's Chuck and we have got a series started with a playlist right down in the description on some of our favorite jigs from Bream, crappie, all the way up to muskie and stripers. Well, we're going to be starting out tying some high fence jigs for Brandon. Him, Randy, and his son, Randy's son that is going to be headed down to Alabama to the Great Lake of Guntersville to do some bass fishing coming up. And I thought I'd time a few bucktails to take with him. And in the first pattern, we're going to be tying what I call Mr. Gizzard. Kind of like a gizzard shad profile on a half ounce jig head. So let's get ready to tie Mr. Gizzard. Okay, guys, we're getting ready to tie up the gizzard shad right here with the half ounce jig head that we poured here. And we're going to be going over everything that we're going to be using today as we tie this jig. And we're going to start out right up here at the jig head itself. As I was saying, we pour on jig heads. And I started out with a base coat of white. This is LA Colors, like I've said in my other jig videos. If you get it with a sticker up here, it's got hardeners in it, which makes it a harder fingernail polish, and it's only a 99 cents a bottle, a buck or so at your Family Dollar and Dollar Store. So I added 2 coats of this, and then I went with a Tropical Storm right up on top to kind of give it that two-tone look by LA Colors, and then 400 in red in LA Colors right down here on the bottom just to give it a little red lip right here. Now we added the eyes with Loctite super glue, my favorite on the market when tying jigs. And then we finished it off with some UV resin, hit it with a UV light. I just brushed it over the eyes and everything, and it gave it a nice shine and a very good protective coating right there. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to tie this jig up here. We're going to start out by running us a line of thread right down to the tip of the hook. When I feel that click from that tip, I back up about a 1/4 inch or so up the hook shank. And the first thing that we're going to add to this jig right here now is some black feathers. If you've got chartreuse, if you've got like black, even white will work. I like black because a lot of time gizzard shad, you'll see them with that dark gray or blackish looking tail. And this is just going to be, you know, just give it a little detail. So I'm going to pick out a couple of nice feathers off this right here and just pop them off. And then we're just going to go ahead and add them to our tie here. Those 2 looks pretty good right there. And I want them to kick off the back from the bend of the hook about, we're going to say right at about 1 inch or 2 off the back of the hook. So I'll measure this up here. And then I'll just go ahead and remove those feathers from the stem. Just like it right there. We'll take another look at him here. So at this point here, I'm going to cut a little piece of stem off and remove it. Take another look at it, make sure it's the length that I want it, and then I'm going to lay it right on the shank of that hook. And I'm going to add several wraps to it here to lock it in. Trying to turn on me here, so I'm just going to run down right down the shank a little bit, tying it on in. That looks pretty good right there. Now we're going to do the same way. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it out here, see about where I'm at with it, removing feathers. It don't have to be perfect because fish are not going to say, oh, that's just off a little bit from the other side. They're not going to worry about that. Right on the side like I did the other one, on the opposite side. And I'm going to give him a couple of wraps and see where I've got him at right now. See how he's looking. Kind of put both of them back, and then I'm just going to go ahead and tie these in. Nice tight wraps. There we go. That's what we're looking for right there now. And now I'm just going to go ahead and put one little drop of super glue on this, since it's going to be a bass jig. We're going to bring our thread back up. Then I'm just going to add one little drop right down here, sealing that in. That'll dry really fast right there, so we won't have to worry about it. And now next we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our white bucktail. So we'll go ahead here and pick us some out. Get about like a pencil eraser. Go ahead and get this cut. There we go. That looks pretty good right there. So we're going to bump him right up against the head. We'll give him one loose wrap. Then we're going to give him a couple wraps there. And just see about how we got him right here. And now at this point, I'm going to push down. While pushing forward, I about push my vise down there. But I want this to go over the shank of the hook a little bit, this white. So that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to tie this in right here real fast. Just a few wraps on him there. That looks pretty good. Now we're just going to flip our vise over. Okay, with a gizzard shad, you know, their upper back toward the top, they look a little silverish gray and a little blue. So we're going to add some gray and blue. We're going to mix them up and just add a little bit to fix that back up there, to make it back. So go ahead first, and we're going to cut us about a pinch of the gray off, about like that right there. Then I'm just going to lay it to the side. And then next, I'm going to get some of the blue here. Just a pinch of it or so. Not much. Just a small pinch, about like that right there. And then we're going to cut that. And you should have about that much right there. Just a pinch. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to add it to the gray. And what I mean, I've got the gray laying here. I'm just going to lay them down together. I may have a little bit too much gray, as you can see right here. And I'm just going to pull some of it out and dispose of it. We don't need a lot of either one. Just remove some of that gray. Remove a little bit of that blue. And we're going to be putting this in the hair stacker. So, and what I'm going to do is just mix this as best as possible. I'm just going to twist this around. Kind of get this mixed up. I want these hairs to kind of mix up together, because a gizzard shad has got a bluish gray or silver like back. So all I'm doing is just working all these hairs around together, trying to get them mixed up as good as possible. Just like so. And then when I once get that done, I'm going to get my hair stacker, And I'm going to go ahead and add it right down in the hair stacker or so. If any falls out a little bit, that ain't going to hurt nothing. Just like that. Give it 3 or 4 taps, and I'm going to raise the camera up here just a little bit. Make sure it's all seated down. And then we're just going to go ahead and get it out. Just get rid of any of the loose stuff, any of the smaller to the jig. So we're just going to lay it up against that jig head. We're going to give him a couple of wraps just like we did with the white. Make sure it ain't spinning around. Make sure it's on both sides of the hook. That's looking pretty good right there. Give him a couple more wraps. Make sure that it doesn't try to spin around on you. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and really put some tight wraps down on this. Just like that. Now when we get this part done right here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add just a couple of pieces of silver flashing. Not much. We're going to do 2 on each side and we're going to fold them back. So what we're going to do, we're just going to grab us up a couple, or maybe 3. We'll do 3 on each side. That'll work. Cut them where they're flushed up. Just like so. Then I'm going to turn my vise sideways. And I'm going to go right back to the end of that bucktail with this flash. Laying it right on the side of that collar. And I'm going to give him a couple wraps here. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the excess and I'm going to bring it back and lay it right down the side as well. And just tie it in with 3 or 4 wraps. That looks good. And then we're going to turn it over and we're going to do the same thing on this side over here as well. So we'll bring us up 3 here. Cut it right up next to that zip tie. Making sure it's all flushed. And then we're going to kind of eyeball it back about to the end of the bucktail, as good as we can get it there. Like on the other side, then we're going to give it a couple of wraps. Just like so. And then we're going to grab the rest of it and fold it back as well. And lay it right down the side. And a couple wraps on it. That looks pretty good there. If we got any that's a little bit too long, that's fine. We'll look at it when we get done. Checking it out here, and we'll just go ahead. Since I see it here, we're just going to go ahead and get rid of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the hair back. And I'm just going to tie this collar up. We'll go down toward the head here, building it up. I like a nice big collar on bass / striper bucktails. Then I'm going to go back about halfway, back toward the head, all the way back once, and then back down, and we're ready to whip tie this bad boy. So now the way we're going to do this, I usually do 5 and then 5 more. So we're going to whip it 5 and then we're going to whip 5 more. There's 5. We're going to seat that down. And then we're going to do 5 more. My thread's trying to get a little long on me here. That's okay. and then 5. And then I'm going to take my finger, wrap around it, pull down, don't break your thread, and then we're going to cut him. And at this point now, this is where we add the crazy glue to him. So I'm going to lay him over to the side, put a couple drops of glue. I love using, I call it crazy glue, but I love using Loctite super glue on my collars. And then I take an old piece of a paintbrush and I just work it all the way around. I'm going to put a little bit more on this side since it's a bigger jig. Just working it in. Working all that thread in. Okay guys, we let it dry, so the next thing I'm going to do, where I put white thread on, I'm just going to add a little black dot right in the center of that collar, just to give it a little look, just like that right there. And then we're going to go to the other side, and I'm using a black Sharpie right here, and I'm just going to add another little black dot, just a little detail to it. Nothing fancy. Just about like it right there. Just give it a little look to it. Kind of like a shad. We got some more jigs that we're going to be tying for him to take along with him as well. I hope you stay tuned for them. And if you like this video, I hope you give us a thumbs up, guys. We would much appreciate that. Subscribe to our channel. We got a lot more jig tying coming down the road. Hit that notification bell. That way you will be notified when we upload right here on the channel. Follow us over on Facebook and Instagram as well. Until next time, stay safe out there on the water or in the woods, and we'll see you right here in the next one. Have a great day.